Managing the logistics and morale of a multi-front war requires a level of mental discipline that ignores personal exhaustion. We often look for the source of that discipline in military training or genetic luck. Yet the most enduring tools for survival rarely emerge from stable, prestigious institutions or the minds of comfortable academics. A merchant ship splintering under the crushing pressure of a Mediterranean storm provided the unlikely foundation for this entire mental framework. To understand the logic that sustained decades of Roman governance, we have to look at a man who watched his entire life's work vanish into the seabed. This strategy for enduring the impossible emerged directly from the wreckage of a maritime disaster. It is the result of chaos forcing a more resilient way of thinking into existence. Zeno of Citium was a merchant whose status was built entirely on successful trade routes. This diagram illustrates the extreme financial vulnerability of the ancient world. Zeno had 100% of his net worth tied to a single point of failure, his ship's manifest. When that ship sank, it didn't just take his cargo, it erased his social standing and his entire planned future in an afternoon. He washed ashore in Athens with no assets, no connections, and no clear path forward. The sudden destruction of his external identity forced Zeno into a corner. He could either wait for a rescue that wasn't coming, or engineer a new method for finding value in a life stripped of its material comforts. While searching for answers in a local bookstore, Zeno's perspective shifted. He listened as the bookseller read the works of Socrates, focusing on the idea that a person's character is the only possession that cannot be taken by force or by nature. This logic tree shows the dichotomy of control, separating uncontrollable external events from the one thing we can govern, our reaction. Tracing the left path, grieving his lost fortune, means choosing suffering. Focusing on his response, he retained agency regardless of the ocean's behavior. He would later remark on the irony of his success, stating, "Now I've made a prosperous voyage, since I have been shipwrecked into philosophy." By treating his financial ruin as a necessary pivot, Zeno transformed a total loss into a source of permanent intellectual stability. Zeno began teaching this new method of emotional detachment and duty under a public colonnade in the center of Athens. Because he taught in this specific architectural space, the Stoa, his students became known as Stoics. This timeline tracks Zeno's logic moving from the porch to the Roman legal code, influencing civil disputes and military duty. It provided a framework for leaders to prioritize the state over personal grief during crisis. By the 2nd century, Zeno's logic provided the administrative and personal backbone for Marcus Aurelius. It allowed him to manage a plague-stricken, war-weary empire with cold, rational focus that preserved its borders for another generation. The legacy of Zeno's shipwreck suggests that total ruin often serves as the necessary demolition before a more durable life can be built.